Welcome to the Retention Nation podcast, the show for e-commerce brands looking to turn one-time and sometime buyers into lifetime and forever customers. Hosted by Isaac Hyman, an ex-VP of Retention and featured speaker, author, masterclass creator, and founder of High Flyer Digital, each episode features successful brands, apps, and experts who are sharing cutting-edge, innovative, and proven email SMS retention insights that help them grow their business to the next level profitably. Our mission is to give you the retention strategies you need to unlock profitable, predictable, and scalable revenue from every customer on your list. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retention Nation podcast, the podcast that talks all about how to turn your one-time and sometime buyers into lifetime buyers by implementing the top retention strategies of the top brands and just gain the secrets to actually building better customer relationships and actually cultivating the relationship you have with people on your list. As we all know, it's not about the size of your list, it's about the relationship you have to your list. So we're going to be sharing all the secrets that the top brands are using, distilling it down for you, bringing them from high-level ideas into tactical, eye-level strategies and tactics that you can implement for yourself and start actually building better relationships with your customers. So as always, I highly recommend you get a copy of our 330-page Ultimate E-commerce Email SMS Playbook. It's a thick book, definitely something that is worth the read. I took it with me on a beach to Miami. Just take some photo ops on there. So I highly recommend you get a copy. It's a great book to leaf through, and we're actually updating it for 2025, along with our customer retention playbook, SMS playbook. But one thing I want to dive into today specifically that's going to be super helpful for you guys as we're starting to pivot towards Black Friday in the second half of the year are pop-ups. And I want to bring on my guest right now who's going to talk all about pop-ups. He's, from what I heard, superstar in the pop-up world. I'm seeing you everywhere these days. We have Shaan Arora. He's a young 24-year-old founder. He's on a mission to make a better pop-up experience for Shopify e-commerce brands. His company, Alia Popups, replaces traditional pop-ups and quizzes, allowing stores to educate visitors on their products and on their story. He's currently working with 1,000+ brands, maybe even more by now, on Shopify and growing faster every month. So thank you for being here, Shaan. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got here and what that journey was like?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I started the company actually while I was in college 2 years ago, and what happened was I was building out a store for my mom at that time, before we had started the company, and while I was building out the store, right, Shopify store, I was just like kind of understanding the e-commerce game and understanding like what Shopify looks like and like the components that exist, right? While doing so, right, it came across the pop-up. And I was like, oh wow, okay, this is like interesting. It feels like it's not that complicated, but like I think it could be improved significantly. I didn't see any tools I loved. I didn't think there was enough sophistication in the tool itself. So I decided to make my own. I thought I could do it better than what currently existed in the market. I have a CS degree, I have a few friends, so we ended up doing that. Kind of made the first pop-up for my mother back then. And that was super cool. And after learning more about e-com, I realized that there is actually probably a demand for this. So, launched officially on the Shopify App Store about 2 years ago, which is, super cool to think about. And last year we had about 20 brands at this, around 100 brands at this time working with us. Now we have over 1,400 brands, which has been super cool. And we had about 100K in annual revenue last year. Now we're at about 3.5 million. So yeah, we've kind of taken the business to a really cool place and super, super proud of that. Worked with a ton of 8 and 9 figure brands, and it's been a great journey. And the biggest thing for us has always been, let's do pop-ups and let's be exceptional at that one thing and let's not do anything else. And I think by taking that approach of let's be the best at this one thing, brands resonate well. They're like, hey, these guys crush at one thing. They care only about this one very specific niche part of Shopify, and because they care about it, they have the best product.
Yeah, you're finding pop-ups usually kind of think about deeper topics, like maybe they're thinking about website optimization or maybe conversion rate optimization, and you've kind of focused specifically on the pop-up side. And how has that made you a differentiator in the space?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? I think Klaviyo, Attentive, Omnisend, PostGIF, Yotpo, they're all awesome tools, and like they're amazing in both email and SMS. But pop-ups isn't their main focus, right?
Yeah.
Pop-ups is something that they offer to their customers because it's kind of just like table stakes for an ESP to offer a pop-up. Whereas with us, the only way we make money as a company, the only way we survive is by selling pop-ups to our customers, right?
Yeah.
And by having great pop-ups. So that's a big differentiator, right? There's other players in the market that started as pop-up companies and then transitioned to other stuff. And then but when they started adding on other products, they actually lost what made them special. We've
Mhm.
chosen to just do this one thing, not really focus on product expansion at all, bring AI and ML into the pop-ups, and
Yeah.
focus on that one specific experience and be the best possible at that one thing.
That's huge. I mean, after working with over 1,400 plus brands, what are brands doing wrong with their pop-up strategy now that you're trying to solve for as we're starting to kind of think towards Q4, you'd say?
Yeah, I'd say like just not thinking of it as a growth lever. I think a lot of brands, and obviously spoken to a ton of brands, because I do all the sales for our company too. Like, um, there's like, oh, I'm like, how's your pop up, right? It's kind of how I start calls, right? And they're just like, oh, it's okay, like, it's
Right.
there, right? And like, not thinking of it as a growth strategy, I think, is a mistake, and not believing that there is more t- more that can be accomplished with a better tool is I think is the kind of mistake that folks make. And I'm happy to go into nuances of like best practices, all that good stuff, but like at a high level, it's like not using it as a growth tool and kind of being okay with it being just
Yeah.
an okay tool, you know?
Yeah. 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 A lot of people think they just throw a pop-up on. And again, I came from I was VP of retention at some of the bigger brands, and I know that sometimes people just throw it on and say it's working, and they just kind of let it lay. But there's probably a
Yeah,
better
yeah,
way, right? You've seen that with even
totally,
the big brands and the small brands.
totally, totally.
Yeah. I mean, we kicked the tires on tons of pop-up vendors again when I was the VP, and tons came pitching us. And just like you said, Attentive has one, and Sail Through has one, and obviously Klaviyo has one. Like all the brands, all the ESPs have one.
Yeah.
But usually, what we thought at the top brands is how to leverage pop-ups for conditional logic or for different traffic sources and things like that. What's some of the most in-depth or crazy requests you maybe have gotten from some of the brands you work with? And maybe are they also maybe over engineering things, overthinking things?
It's a good question. I think there's a fine line between like over engineering it and just having something that's going to convert well,
Yeah.
right? And I think by having a pop-up that is optimal, right? And we have our way of saying what an optimal pop-up is. You're 80% of the way there. Now, brands that are larger, that extra 20% is really important. And when you're using a Klaviyo pop-up, I'd say you're closer to like 30% of the way there of like what you could achieve. When you work with us and like without over engineering it, but just by implementing our best practices, best delay times using the AI products that we have, like the AI way to trigger pop-ups, you're getting 80% of the way there. The extra 20%, right, comes from like, how do we segment this to show the right pop-up to the right customer at the right time,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? So we have a bunch of brands that, to your point, right, on different LPs, they'll show different pop-ups, right? So let's say that they have affiliates coming in from different directions. They actually show different pop-ups to each of those affiliate landing pages.
Yeah.
Another cool one is actually Dermatology, which is, a massive brand, and we've been working with them for a while. They have some really, really interesting triggers. They have one for returning site visitors from new customers from paid traffic, new customers from unpaid traffic, new customers in US, new customers outside of US, returning site visitors, as well as second sessions. So, not just like all returning, but just being the second session.
Right.
And like obviously they're a larger brand, so like that granularity actually helps them a lot. They ask them different questions, right? If I'm there for my second session versus a first session versus a 10th session, like the questions you want to ask me and the information you want to gather about me is different from each of those segments, right? So I think creating that segmentation and that targeting is
Yeah.
super crucial if you want to unlock that, 80 to 100, like if you want to unlock the 100%, that's how you get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so. Again, some of the top brands are understanding their traffic is coming from slick deals, or it's coming from, in my case, I was in consumer electronics, Apple Insider, or Sony Rumors, or whatever it is, and having a different pop up for each source of traffic that's personalized to them. Hey, we noticed you love Apple. Get 10% off Apple today, right, when you sign up. So all those different places are really crucial. And it seems like
Totally.
you probably see increased conversion rates for every single pop-up, even though there's a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure, right? And like I think that's also an important one is like actual on-site conversion rate is something we track too. So like, you know, we want to create the best pop-up with the highest opt-in rate, but how can we ensure we're not hurting bounce rate and not hurting on-site CPR? Really
Mhm.
important factors.
Yeah.
So we show that data inside of Alia, and for anyone so we're actually the only company that shows that data of on-site CVR and bounce rate, but like it's good to track that because you want to understand, like, yeah, obviously we all want to get 10, 15, 20% opt-in rates, which we usually do, but we also don't want to hurt a site's CVR or bounce. They're not going to be too happy with us. So I think finding that balance is really important.
Yeah. So I actually was working with, and we have a few clients that are custom websites. And obviously you work with Shopify brands. Alia is great when it comes to that integration with Shopify. Fantastic. But some custom websites, and even some Shopify brand owners, look to their website and as like a static component. And they look to their pop-up as being this kind of dynamic, kinetic type of experience they can have on their site without kind of facing development costs or waiting like for your developer to get into it and start making anything dynamic. Like like kinetic, like dynamic yield does some great website optimization. So they look to the pop-up to be that kind of dynamic element on their site. It's like a poor man's version of it. Are you seeing pop-ups do more than just acquire new visitors overall?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think one really important part about that is understanding customer data. So you'll see in pretty much most of our pop-ups, we don't ask for the email fields right away. We first ask a poll question. So example,
Mhm.
Tom's a super massive brand. They ask, who are you shopping for today? The answer is being men's, women's, kids, family,
Mhm.
right? Now you see a higher opt-in rate when you ask a question like that. It's pretty interesting, right? So like by asking a question instead of just asking for email up front, you see a higher opt-in rate. Now with the obvious benefit that you also collect some good zero-party data. So as a brand, you now know, oh, okay, Shaan is here shopping for men's. That's great. And you can then target me later, right? Let's say I then go ahead and convert or I don't convert. You can then send me correct flows based off that answer. And Firebelly Tea, it's actually the Shopify president's brand. They asked a similar question. They were like, are you interested in black tea, green tea, or matcha? They thought everyone was going to say green tea. A lot of people said black tea. They actually made R&D decisions based off that. So you have a new customer coming in. Yes, we want them to convert, but what else can we get? And asking a quiz question in the beginning, super easy way to do it, extremely low friction, actually improves opt-ins, and you get some really cool zero-party data that you can then, influence decision making up to like what to produce and what's kind of
Yeah.
popular right now.
I have a love-hate relationship with zero-party data because a lot of brands tend to use and ask questions that are not useful in perpetuity. They may
Yeah,
ask
that's
things that are like a great example, right?
true.
I'm in the market for a MacBook, right? That zero-party data is great until I buy a MacBook. Then I'm not in the market for a MacBook anymore. I
Yeah,
need something else. So I have a love-hate
that's
relationship.
true.
What's your experience with it?
Yeah, I think like asking a question that's genuinely helpful for a brand is
Yeah,
important, right? Like, and we can find a way to strike a balance between making sure it's still high converting and being useful for the brand.
yeah,
So you can A/B test to your point, like, are you shopping for men's, women's, children? Or you could ask like, um, where did you first hear about us? Or why are you shopping sustainably? Like, what do
yeah,
you care about? Like, do you care about sustainability? Do you care about like recyclability? Like all these different questions you can ask. We can A/B test all of these to figure out, okay, if I ask this question, I actually see a higher opt-in rate, and these questions are more valuable for my data team. Like,
yeah,
let's go with that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Exactly. You got to be valuable and really have something that's useful in perpetuity and helpful for your entire brand, just like you said for Firebelly Tea. Um, Black Friday, technically, for a lot of people, is around the corner, and certainly for tech, you probably are facing this. Maybe a code freeze, or some brands are not, a little hesitant to add something to their site in October and November. Maybe not. But what would you recommend brands do right now in the summer, July, August, to ensure they acquire and convert as many visitors as they possibly can when Black Friday and Q4 comes around?
I'd say figure out your tech stack early, right? And like then we've seen a massive
Yeah.
demand from brands being like, oh, I really want to get Alia in, give it 30 days, give it 60 days, give it 90 days to make sure it's what I want for my Black Friday tech stack. So I'd say, we're in with July 10th, right? We have some time, but at the end of the day, like you don't want to be testing stuff on like November 10th. You
Yeah.
want to test stuff like now so that you have your tech stack
Yeah.
ready. Um, so I'd say like if you have your tech stack ready early, it just saves you like chaos and stress at the actual date. So I think like now is a great time to try out, like whether or not brands want to try out Alia, like cool either way, but trying out tools now I think is a good strat so that you can have breathing room, right, for Q4, for Black Friday, where you're not like, oh shit, is this gonna break my site like 2 days before? Like let's test it today.
Right.
Let's make sure it works. Let's keep it on the site, and then during Black Friday, it'll still be there, and we know it's gonna be efficacious.
Yeah. Yeah, huge. Yeah, definitely testing in advance, really important. Getting up there, kicking the tires. And also in terms of the pop-up, right? The email and SMS is just one part of it. The hard
Mhm.
work or like the next step would be that welcome series, right? Have you
Right.
seen brands changing it for Q4? I know you've been through only, I think you said like only one Q4 for the most part.
One big Q4. Yeah.
Right. But
Mhm.
which is great. But what is that, how's the welcome series changed when it comes to Q4 and the pop-up experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think the typical advice for everyone is send more emails during Q4, right? I think yeah, send more emails and text during Q4. Um, and specifically for the pop-up, what we see work best during this time is most brands run an on-site sale, like a store-wide sale, right? So you can actually announce that store-wide sale inside of the pop-up. So instead of kind of complicating this and being like, oh, like some site business might be like, oh, but there's a 40% site-wide sale and the pop-up is saying 15%. Like that's kind of incongruent. So think about actually just writing that store-wide sale inside of the pop-up. Now everyone's gonna get it. Okay, so regardless of whether or not they fill the pop-up out, everyone's gonna get it.
Mhm.
Last year we saw a massive uptick in opt-in rate numbers across our brands when they announced the store-wide sale on the pop-up itself. You can actually see a higher opt-in rate during Black Friday because the offer is more enticing.
Right.
Um, so creating congruency between the offer and the pop-up and the offer on the site is important. And not doing an additional offer inside the pop-up is our advice. You actually keep the on-site offer and the pop-up offer the exact same. Um, that is how we've seen the brands do it, and the best way to help CVR actually during that time period because we've seen that actually it helps CVR and it helps opt-ins.
That's great. That's great. That seems like a great way of kind of, again, juggling both, kind of also
Yeah,
teasing the offer in general, right?
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's super cool.
I imagine, obviously the email and SMS channels love you, right? They're acquiring more emails and more data
Yeah.
and more things to work with. Do you feel like the paid social and the paid search teams are like, hey man, pop-ups are annoying, or they're taken away from our attribution? Are you finding that too during Q4
Mm.
or really any
That's
time of
interesting.
year?
That's interesting. Yeah, honestly, we have a good relationship with. We're lucky. We have a good relationship with all of the all the players in the ecosystem because, you know, I mean, just an example, this guy Mason Littlejohn, he has like a massive ads agency, like huge, and he sends us like a bunch of clients because he's like, when I use Alia, my CPC is better. Like my these people convert at a higher rate when I use Alia. So for him, he recommends it to all of his clients because it makes him look better too. So we haven't seen any adverse effects with working with ad agencies in that way. And like, yeah, it makes sense, right? Like if you can get more people to sign up and then more people to convert, um, your ads will be more profitable anyways.
Yeah, and what's interesting also is that even though there's more, based on the storytelling, and we work with a brand or two together, based on the storytelling, you're still converting at a high level. It's not an extra friction point to have customers, read the story and get involved with with your pop-ups and more. It seems like it's actually increasing their purchase rate, and that's perfect for Q4 too. It seems like that's a
Yeah,
great tool.
totally. Yep, totally.
Yeah. Awesome. We talked about zero-party data also. I think that was the other thing that was really important. And in terms of email channel and SMS, right? Email is everyone wants to acquire that email address, but what is your pop-up also helpful for acquiring SMS at a really just as high of a level? And is there one channel that brands should focus on more in Q4?
Yeah, for sure. We collect both, and we collect both at a high rate. Brands who really care about SMS, there's two good strategies. Number one is show SMS first and then email second. So,
Mhm.
like here's 15% off, put in your SMS and then put in your email. If you want to be a high, if you want to get a higher SMS rate, very easy to do it. Secondly is giving a higher offer for SMS, right? So 10% for email, 15% for SMS. Those are two really, really lightweight ways to increase SMS rate, and we've seen it work time and time again. Uh, Either way works with us. Um, like I know we have a handful of brands that do both of the strategies and both crush. And then in terms of like SMS or email, I think both are important. However, for brands that are like more Gen Z focused, we've seen SMS be better.
Hmm. Interesting. So Gen Z is forcing the phone to be the primary source of communication rather than email, which is so interesting depending on the brand, I guess.
Yeah, like we work with a brand that sells really to like even Gen Alpha actually, like pretty much only Gen Alpha. They do SMS first and their flows crush.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge to hear.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I know one thing that we excelled in was actually knowing how to build up an SMS list really fast. And part of
Nice.
that strategy is to, aside from the things that not many people do, like, editing the transactional emails and getting people to do this and on their welcome series or post purchase, is also the pop-up strategy and how to do pop-ups when you are on the email list, but not on the SMS list and things like that. So it seems like SMS and email both have high priority this Q4, you'd say.
Yeah, for sure. If you're targeting a young demographic, let's say between like 18 and 25,
Yeah.
say prioritize SMS.
Yeah. Huge. So seems like you have covered a lot and you're excited for Q4, and a lot of brands are going to be relying on you for their pop-up strategy. So any last words you would want to share about Alia to ensure that, the brand gets the most value for Black Friday and for Q4? Any last tips you'd recommend they start implementing right away now, and how to take the next steps with you guys as well?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say last words about Alia, right? Again, to our ethos, all we do is pop-ups. All we care about is
Yeah.
pop-ups. We have the most knowledge about it, and we have the best opt-in rates. So if you're looking for a better pop-up tool, if your Klaviyo pop-up is below like 10%, give us a shout. We'll get you set up. 30 days free. You can try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you don't need to pay us. So
Yeah.
very, very easy to try it out. Um, in terms of prep for Q4, I'd say try out tech tools early. Get your offer locked in early too. Try to figure out kind of early, like, hey, am I going to offer 20%, 30%, 40%? Just so you can align the pop-up with that when the time is right.
Yeah. Offer testing is so important to understand what's going to work. Of course, like you just said, the technology is important. Bring it on now, test it out, kick the tires, especially if it's free. But that offer
Yeah,
testing
that's true.
is a really important element of it.
For sure.
Huge. Yeah, well, that's great,
Awesome.
Shaan. Thank you so much for joining and talking a little bit about the
Of course.
brands. Really great to hear your tips for Q4. And again, you're listening to Retention Nation podcast. We're talking all about retention, and the first step in retention is to get that visitor and turn it into a subscriber, and then obviously a subscriber to buyer. And that starts with Alia pop-ups, and that's really the next step. So thank you very much for joining us on this podcast, Shaan. It's been great. You talked about the last words. There's a free trial available. Kick the tires now before we start entering Q4. And for all those listening,
Yeah.
thanks for listening to Retention Nation podcast. Yeah, any final words?
Final words is, A/B test everything. A/B test
Always be
everything you can.
testing, right?
Always be testing. Yeah, just
Always
test
be
as much as you
testing.
can. Because
Yeah.
like there's always hidden things that can help your store massively. So, if there's a tool that seems interesting and they offer a free trial, I personally always test it out as a SaaS company just because it's like, hey, let's see if it'll actually do anything for us.
Free demo. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
It could probably be better than what you're doing. And I'm a testament to that. I'm sure you have a lot of brand case studies and testimonials about that. So
For
definitely
sure.
jump on that. Thanks for listening to Retention Nation podcast. I will see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Retention Nation podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and join our Retention Nation Facebook group. If you want to put this week's retention strategy into action within minutes, all done for you by our expert email, SMS, and retention team, you can go to highflyerdigital.com/book for a free 15-minute chat with myself and my team. It's time to turn those one-time and sometime buyers on your list into lifetime buyers and unlock the revenue you deserve. Your brand is worth it, and your customers will thank you for it. Until next week, I'm Isaac Hyman, wishing you a successful and profitable week.